All right, folks. I hope you can
The
see my.
broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
All right, everybody. I hope you're doing well. A little bit of a hiccup there, but we're ready to roll now. Um, we're going to go ahead today. We're going to continue working on our checkers. How many people think they finished their checker? All right, we got two. So at the end of this, we'll go ahead and share those. And you can also work on a cookie cutter with this as well. But what I do want you to see that if you look under, if everybody will go search up here in the top row, right where it says your name or whatever your group is, go Tom Dubik in my case, right? I'm going to search there. And then I'm going to click on Young Engineers of Today. And then you'll see what I have in public. I've got two of these in public, or at least one, these two in public. It says up here, public. You'll be able to find them as examples. Ultimately, the ones you want me to print off, we're going to need to make public. Okay? Okay, let me ask Caden. What's your question, buddy? Hey, Caden.
How do we send it to you?
All right,
Like,
that's what I'm trying to get you to understand. If you make it public, and then I will send out a survey over the next few days, you'll just tell me what the name of it is or how you have your name on Tinkercad. Plus, there's links. Like, so say here, if I wanted to share this, watch, I'm going to go ahead and pull this out there. There is a link to it right here. I'm going to ask you to include that link. Okay? So you're going to embed that link. You're going to put it on that survey, and then I can go through and punch them out. Also, underneath each of these checkers, you're going to have to put a thin plate. I will give you the dimensions because we're going to use those. We go to mold and cast them. All right. Now we're probably with you folks in Iowa. We're probably going to hold off a little bit longer because the molding materials can handle the cold, and we don't want to have it freeze or it won't work well. Okay? Anybody else have a question? All right, now. Boy, someone else does. Yes, Anton.
How do we make it public?
Okay, let me go in there with you. Great question. So say Nico made these checkers for me. They're pretty cool. So I wanted to say, well, let me find something I can make public of my own. Show more. Kind of start seeing the different things we've made through theirs. All right. So, all right. Say if this one right now, I'm going to tinker this. It's going to come up. I'm going to go under design. I'm going to go under properties. Right there, you're going to say public. All right. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right. Anybody else? Great questions. Anybody else have another one? All right. Now we are recording. Okay. Let's just real quickly, and if you want, you can do a cookie cutter too, folks, by the way, on this. You'd want to make a handle, but let me show you something that we can, how that might work. All right, let's go over here. Back to the beginning. Right here. Again, I'm going to tinker this right now. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer, especially with this. All right, so there it is. Now I can take this cat and I can do a couple things with him. And so what we're going to do is talk about importing something into Tinkercad, and then I'll show you what these two things are doing with the cat, okay? We'll make it real quick. I'll make a checker with the cat. But first, how did I get that cat in there? Well, if I choose File, all right, I can import it. Well, where did I get the file originally? Well, I did it looking up on the internet. So let's review real quickly how we do that. We're going to go into images. In this case, we're the Panthers, so I type Panther. All right. And then I'm going to go under images. There he is, Panthers. Now, none of these really make good 3D prints right there or go well on a laser cut. So let's go to this little gear here, and let's go to Advanced Search. So again, I go under Google, I search Panthers, I find this little clock thing right there that allows us to do advanced searches. I'm going to select file type. We want to be SVG, those are vector-based graphics, and we're going to do advanced search. There it is. There, and I decide that's the Panther I'm going to use. I click on it, and then I do View Image. That shows up there. Notice it's an SVG file. You've got to wait till it blows up like this. Then I'm going to do Save As, Panther, right there. So I'm going to put it on there. Okay? Now, we'll go back to Tinkercad. Any questions before we go along on that? Does everybody understand what I did? We do that under JSON. We're going to do that under, I'll show you how to make it paper. Okay, Caden, let me explain something to you first. And Jason, guys, first answer this question. I'll come back to your two questions. Does anybody have a question about what I just did there to get the cat or any other logo? Go find something on Google. Go ahead, find the SVG file, and see if you can find that. Even if it's not the logo you're going to use. Go ahead and do that for me. Raise your hand once you've done it. While you all are doing that, I'm going to answer a couple questions here. Caden, I'm making stackable checkers, and that thin plate would mess it up. The thin plate is not going to be part of your checker. We use the thin plate when we use it to make a mold, and then we make a casting from that mold. Don't worry, the thin plate won't be on it. Could you show us how to make it public again? Yes, all you're going to do is go under Design Properties, go under Design, go under Properties, select Public, right there. All right, raise your hand. Anton's got one. Everybody raise one and get an SVG downloaded. Then we'll bring it up into here. After making it public, can you make a design? When you send me the link off of it, Jason, or you give me your name, I'm going to send out a Google Doc. You'll enter it there. Okay, Jason, can you go do what I'm asking you to do right now? I will send the dimensions tomorrow. Racing once you've gotten downloaded that, so I know everybody knows how to do this. Because then I'm going to show you on Inkscape later how we can do it off a raster or bitmap or JP. All right, I've got most everybody there. All right, so here's our cat right there. I'm going to move these things over out of the way. Whoa. Edit, undo. I got to group this one. See how that cat got moved in the blue box? Oops. Let's go right here. Undo. See how that one's there and it moved out? What I need to do is group it. So I'm going to take both sides and I'm going to go up here, group. Now when I move this, the whole thing moves over. All right, great. So I'm going to go over here. I'm going to go into import. I'm going to select and believe me, if all of a sudden it doesn't show up, you can't find it, just close all these things down, then go to import, choose a file. All right, I'm going to do Tom Dubek desktop, Panther Silhouette, open. Now chances are, when I go to import this, it's going to be way too big. Watch, it's going to look, see on my corner of the screen, going to import. See, it's huge. It obliterates everything on my workspace. So let's delete it. Just hit delete key right now. I delete it. Now I'm going to only take it, I'm going to take it about 10% of that size. I'm not going to make it 10 millimeters high. I'll probably only need it to be 4 millimeters high. Import. One of the things you notice right off the bat, it imports a lot faster on it because it's smaller size. Okay, now. All right, I've got my kitty cat here. I'm going to spin him around. I'm going to go out there so I can split it right by the degrees. Turn him that way. I can turn him. There he is. All right, so there's my cat. All right, now a couple things I can do. I want my checker to be less than 50. He's a little bit too big for that right now. So let me go ahead and get my ruler out here. I'm going to put it over on this side of the screen because it doesn't matter where, as long as you have that ruler on the screen. And I'm going to slide him down and make him a little bit smaller. I'll make him 45. He's got to fit inside the checker. Checkers, I don't want more than 50 or even 40. Let's just go 40. All right, he's the scale there. Now, I decide I'm going to make my checker. Go over here, grab a cylinder. I'm going to make the cylinder 50 by 50 right here because I can do the ruler. I can do that. 50 here. 20 is too high. I'm going to make that 7. So there it is. Now, so he's in pretty good shape there. We've got this here. But you know what would be cool is see how the edges are real smooth around that? We can kind of do something else with this. We can do something where we make it even cooler looking. So we're going to take that and I'm going to add a little touch to this. I'm going to drop this even a little. Well, first let's put him on there and then we can shrink it. I'm getting ahead of myself. Notice this little spot right there. I'm going to lift him up. See that? See the little blue square? I can move that, and that little shadow will tell me, hey, I'm over this. Then I'm going to move him back down. And I'm going to move him in to this. So I might even make him a little bit thicker. So I could make him like this, a little bit thicker. I could take the cat then, move him, and there he is. And I might make him a little bit thinner and pull him up a little bit. All right, so there he is. Here's our cat in there. Now I use my align tool, highlight the whole thing. I go adjust, align. That's up at the top, in the center there, and then find the align tool on this side. Sometimes you have to spin around and find it on the center. I've got them aligned there. So there's my kitty cat, right? Now, I can also, while he's there, copy him and hit Control V and he'll be over here. And I'm going to come back to that in a minute. Okay, so there's my checker. I also could do something where I change the color of the outside of this. I don't really like that bright orange. I'm going to go to more that color and leave him white. In a minute, we'll group them all together. So if I group them all together, there's white, but let's change it to something he's all grouped together, like a little bit of a gray. That way you see the detail. If you make this really bright, you won't see the detail. If I make this a heavy red, well, he's white now. Watch till I group him. You can kind of still, in that case, he was white. I did that gray with him. If you make him a dark color, you won't be able to see him. All right, any questions up to this point? Where's the align key? Again, the align key is under adjust. Adjust, align, and mirror. Now, let me show you something else then. This can give your checker a nice little shape to it. Go down to the thin tube. Whoops, that was not what I wanted. Thin tube. All right, so this is 50 by 50. Right, that's a checker. I'm going to make this now 45. Make this one 45. Now notice that the cat gets smaller too because they've all been grouped in there together. Now I'm going to look at this one and make this 45. Let's see what it does when we do this. $45. Now we're going to put that on there. It's just the same size. So we may need to make this a little bit bigger. So we'll make this 48. 48. That might be too big, by the way. Let's see. 48. Now I'm going to take this over the top of this. All right. I'm going to line this up again. This has got a more, see that side? This has a little more of a curved surface. You'll see in a minute. I'm going to pull it up. I could even make him a little bit bigger if I want. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can. All right, let's line him up and see if he fits in there. Highlight those three. Go under adjust to align this direction. And now this direction. So that looks good. And now I'm going to take this. I'm going to make sure I'm just clicking the orange one. It says it's 2.08 up. We'll make that 9. See how I've got a nice little checker side there? And it's got a little more of a ridge look to it. And we've got our checker of our line in there. Select the whole thing, or our panther, I should say. I'm going to check a different color than that. There he's in green. See? And that's kind of got more of a little bit of a checker look on him. Questions about that? Now, what about, all right, so now I can move this around. Whoa, I did undo. I got them all green. I got to group those. So again, highlight the whole thing, group it. There it is. Now I can move the whole thing around. I don't have to worry about it. So why did we keep this other cat out once we first started here? Well, we can take the cat, if you think about it this way, say I wanted to make a cookie mold. And I'm going to bring another box down. I'll do it this way. I'll show you this. Change the color. You can change the color anytime. Just go up to color and change it. I'll do another kind of green, I guess. I'm going to change this height to 15. That's a lot of plastic. Let's go to 8. All right, and then I'm going to stretch it out this way. because I want the cookie mold. So I'm going to take my cat. See how the blue is on there? It's going underneath them. I know, I'm right there. Okay. And then I'm going to make the cat even thicker so I can push him all the way in there. And see, I'm making that cat white. I'm going to make him a hole now. And I group him. He digs a hole in there. Give it a second. Oh, I didn't go far enough, deep enough. Let's do that, undo that. I'll move him down. I'll move him up so that way I know that he is. See where it says negative? He's 2 minutes below the plane, so I know for a fact he's already through. Now make it a hole. First we got to group them. There he is. Now I would like to put a handle on him, and you could work on doing some kind of handle ideas on this. You know, and clean up these corners. I mean, I did this in a rush just to give you an idea. Let me go ahead and group that so that, whoops. It's grouped. Okay, good. All right, so what that does is I can put that over cookie dough and I shove it through the cookie dough and pull it up. You're going to be left with the cat there. I'm not sure I'd have that chunk in his face, but you get the idea. So you'd have that. So what you need to do then is maybe make handles for this. And the way to do that, in my opinion, and there's lots of ways to do things, let's move our work plane over. So now we're on this side of it. And then we're going to take another block. And we're going to make this block very flat, like right like that. Let me go around here. See how flat that is? And then I might make a semicircle on it, or here's what I could do on this. It should be kind of a cool look. This rounded roof. Okay, we need to do this a little bit differently. Let me pull that out. Hit W. Click it there. I'm going to take the roof. Oh, wrong one. Rounded roof. I'm going to put it right there. And actually what I want to do with this is I'm going to flip it if I can. Let me flip it off this. That doesn't do what I want to do. Hang on. Like that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this rounded roof, and bring them over like this. I'm going to turn it. I'm going to take it, I'm going to shove it through the red one. Gotta lift it up. I'm not quite where I want to be. Let's bring that shadow where it needs to be, right there. I'm going to put a hole through it. Make that hole, blue one, a hole. Whoops. Group that. And I'm in a rush, but you can see I could put a handle here, and I could put a handle on the other side of this. And then I could sit there and shove it in. I would want to move this in. I'm going to go ahead and ungroup these a second, which is going to leave that hole in there. I would want to move this into this one. I'd want to dig a little bit of a hole. I want to move this over, make this the right size. Let me shift it down, make it a little bit smaller. Raise it up maybe just a little bit. All right. Let's group this whole thing, see if that works any better. Don't make this that red color. Let's go lighter red, I guess. Group. Whoops. You know what I did? Ungroup. Hole. Now group it. Now, so you put a handle here, a handle on the other side of this, and press it down. You work on making that a better handle, a little thinner. This is a little too thick, I think. You make a very thick cookie. It needs to be about half that size. No, we aren't printing chess pieces. We're making checkers. And if you don't want to do checkers, you want to make your own thing, like you just want to make a cookie cutter, but we just can't duplicate them. We know how to duplicate the checkers. And we've got so much to do yet with your labs that this is going to be a bit of a challenge. All right. Any question on this part of it? Any questions at all? Let me see if you just raise your hands. Okay. All right. It's 7:04 now. I really wanted to show you. I'll give you a couple more minutes. How many people now have a checker that they feel pretty good about? Raise your hands if you've created a checker. All right, good. We've got a lot of people here who have. And I showed you where there's a group of checkers. I will share this. I'm going to go ahead and name this, make this public. You asked before, there's Panthers. I'm going to go into Design, Properties. I'm going to make it public. Okay? And you can start to see different things we might do with this. In fact, I might print one and play a cookie dough tomorrow and see if I can print out a Panther cookie. Put it up there. Or a different figure. Let's do some kind of 3D printing there. That actually is a pretty good. I like that. Okay. Now, go ahead. It's 7:06 now, and at 7:10, I'm going to bring up Ink. And if you don't have it installed, bring up Inkscape. At this point, if you've got it, in a few minutes, bring up Inkscape, and we're going to go through how to use Inkscape. Any questions? And we did a lot right here. Now, a lot of it's been a review. I'm going to also put this up. How was my explanation, guys, so I get a sense of my pacing? I'm about 75% voted. Please, who haven't voted, please vote so we can get this down here real quick. There we go. We're at 88. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Close the poll. Share results. 93% said about right, so well, we can live with that, I think. All right. In about 2 minutes, we'll bring up Inkscape. I'll show you how to go into Inkscape, take a bitmap, and convert it. All right, now. Any more questions? I'm not sure why, Jane, it doesn't. So just watch what we have here, bud. Or you can work on your checker. Okay? Now, here's what's going to happen on this. And this is, let me see which file is this. That's my final duck. We're going to try to get to this point with the duck. If you go on Edmodo, let's open a recent one. I'm going to bring one up off of Edmodo. There it is. I actually have one here too. Okay. If you open it, it may ask you about importing, and you can also do it this one. Import, and go down and select, your duck. So right there would be, you don't want to import, you either do a JPEG or right there. Open. Say OK. And there it is. Now I opened two in the same thing. I'm going to delete that off just because I was demonstrating for you all. All right. So there we go. We've got a little duck here. Ignore this other one. This is where we're going to get to the final product here. I'll jump out of that. All right. So I'm going to bring up my Inkscape so it's much bigger. All right. Now, and I'm going to do a little zoom. Zoom in. I'm going to blow them up a little bit. Okay, so what I'm going to do when I go to work on this, let me get my notes here. Kind of see where we're going with this. All right, so this raster image is a bitmap, a JPEG thing, but we want it to be vectors because vectors are good for 3D printing. They're also low scale. So we did an import. You might or might not get this menu box, all right? And basically just go to the default, go to smooth, all right? Image rendering if you have that. And these are pretty much the default values, I believe, on this. Then you're going to do what's called trace bitmap, all right? So let me show where that is. All right, so under path, trace bitmap. Now, for what we're doing, I generally use the single. All right, so there it is. We're going to trace bitmap, and you can make it, that's multiple. We can do edge detection on, or we can cut things off by brightness. So let's try, first of all, brightness. Let's try that one. Update. I'm hoping that will update. Come on. Should show up on the screen, so I'm not sure. I want to make sure I'm not running it on a different. There it is. For whatever reason, that took forever. All right, now, here's the thing. All right, so that did it that way. Brightness cut off. I could try it by edge detection. Looks like this. I don't like that. It's really broken up. You'd see in a minute. In fact, I can go OK and watch. I'll bring it up. So I can bring it. If I click on this and move it, you'll see. Okay, so that's one. Might make a good cookie cutter. Let's do another one. Let's go by brightness cutoff. Update. OK. And then give it a minute. And you can pull it over. So you got to pull it off there. It's going to stay right on the bird, and it's not always obvious. So remember that. And then you can do, there's all kinds of, you can play with these different ones, see which one comes out better with your image. That one just didn't come out well at all. See right there, it's just got those limbs. That's not going to work very well. And you got invert image, update again. And that's black. I'm going to pull it out. It makes it black, the opposite. And you can set these thresholds, and you can play with this, you can play with the colors, and I think you just try with the experience. I generally like the black one right there. And so if you do multiple scans, you end up having to ungroup them. Just remember, if you do a multiple scan, let's do a multiple scan. We'll do it by brightness. Or grays. Let's do gray. All right, see it's gray right there? Okay. And that should pull out right. Is that? We'll get to that in a second. All right, so we did a multiple on there. We say, okay. All right, now, if you do a multiple one like that, go ahead and click on these nodes. You see this? See the little nodes on these? You can edit those on the multiple ones. You can go in there and pull things off by just, let's do this. See, now I can grab that line. All right. And that has some advantages too. So what I would say is experiment with these down the road and pick the ones you like best. I end up tending to like this one a little bit more, a single pass. Others don't really feel that way. And if you do the multi-pass, like I say, you can do nodes. And what you can do is you can say, all right, this says, a lot of times it'll tell you how many nodes are there. You can go up to path and you can say simplify, which reduces the number of nodes. And you can pull the nodes around if you want to. You can actually literally change the drawing that way. Let's go back here. Here's another one. Now that one came out pretty nice. So that one might be one worth keeping. So all right, so let's keep that done. Except you're going to have this huge holes here, just so you know this in this duck. All right? All right. So once you've done that, let's go back over to my notes for us. 3 for scan, 3 for multiple scans. I just think and this we just looked at, simple one just does one image, grab it, pull it. Multiple scans will have several layers. You got to select one of the layers off there. And you'll see by trying it more, you'll see more and more. And I would just keep what you do is you say you do single scan, do what I just said, you do live preview, do an update, you'll see it right there. And once you've tried one you like, go ahead and click on OK. And then you'll have to pull them off. So here's some multiple scans. And you can do remove background and play with all these things. You've got to, with that, I should say, I said multiple scan, but I really meant to say single scan. When you do a single scan, it stays right on the bird, so you might not see it. The first time I was trying to do these scans, I was like, wait a minute, I'm doing this bitmap, nothing's happening. Well, it was happening, you just don't see it. Let me go back to show you exactly. So this will stop your frustration level. I want to get you out of that frustration because you will be frustrated if I don't show this. So say here's my, let's go back up here. Paths, trace bitmap. Okay, I'm going to go back to single, update. Say okay. And what should happen here is, except we've done so many scans here, I may have messed this up a little bit. Here, let's go over here. Yeah, we've got all these groups have come off here. If you do a single scan, you have to pull it off. Let me go ahead. I'm going to save this. Save as funny ducks. Duck funny, because it seems to me kind of weird that way. I'll look. Let me open another one up. File. Open recent. Duck P1G. Say OK on this. Here's this duck again. Remember, all I'm trying to say is when you do an import on this, go path, trace bitmap, and you do a single mode right there. And you've got some options to play with, but there it is, brightness cutoff. To update, it'll take it a second. You've got to see the little duck show up. Until that does it, it doesn't really work. And I'm usually I get impatient and click it. It becomes to click a lot here. Give it a minute. Bill, come on. There it is. Finally got the update. Maybe I hadn't selected that well enough. Then I say OK. Now when I do that, because it's a single scan, not these multi-scans, I have to literally grab it and pull it out of here. There it is, see? If you don't, they're going to be on top of each other and you're not going to be able to see it. So don't let that throw you. Okay? All right, well, I just got a message saying they're shipping the Polar 3D printer. That's the one I want you all to use because you can sit at your computers and watch your print. And I wanted to buy one, make sure it works well, and then I'm going to buy a second one right off that. And then I have 5 other printers to work as well. So we will get your stuff printed. Okay. Okay, so there we are. We've got all these. Now, I'm going to get out of here. I'm not even saying that. Don't save. Okay. So here's my ducks. I've got all these ducks in a row. All right. And, you know, in here it shows you by using the path and simplifying, you get fewer nodes, which are easier, make it easier to handle. See, like if you do this color one, you got all these nodes, you simplify, you get a lot less. And you can pull these and manipulate them. For the level of this class, we're not going to worry about that too much. Now, let's make sure. All right, let's go back up to our drawing. Let me get to, we're going to fit it to the document. So just what we want to prints out. So we got all these ducks. We're going to keep this one here. I think what I'm going to do, get rid of that one. All right, let me do this. Object, unlock all. Object, ungroup. I'm going to ungroup those. I just ungrouped them. So now I can delete them. Before, when they're grouped, when they were grouped, I couldn't delete one of them. You don't have to worry so much of singles paths. So if you have them all in there and you think they're all together, just ungroup them. All right, so now I can do this. Go to pointer. That was nice. Edit, undo. Gotta get every one of these layers off this. See, all the layers, I had to do each layer. Now I'm gonna move this over here. So here's my duck. Then I'm gonna go to File, Document Properties. So File, Document Properties. So I had to delete each one of those layers when I ungrouped them, everybody. That's what I did. Let me just show you that one more time. I decided, I think oh, that was probably pretty fast. All right. Remember, there's 8 layers on this thing. And I had pulled these layers apart. So when I started deleting them, that was delete that one, delete that one, delete. All right, now I got to start getting rid of these layers. Delete that one. So now there's a layer below that one, that one, that one. Delete that one. Move this to the center. Okay. Then we go to File, Document Properties. Right over here, resize page to content. Make the page the size of this content. And there you go, resize page or drawing. We're just going to go ahead and there. Notice there's no margins here. We want it that way. Now it's set like this. Then we hit File, Save As, Duck Funny. JPS, we're going to go ahead and change this to this. New duck, because it's a new duck I have. And I'm going to call it 2 to tell myself this was the second version of my duck, .svg. And I'm keeping that right on the desktop, so I'll hit Save. All right. Like we said, save it, do Document Properties, resize to the content, You know, and right there, notice no margins. And so it's the size. So you don't have to get any white border whenever you want to print it. We saved it. Remember, it's an SVG file. And now your previous duck is now an SVG file. All right. All right, so now going about printing it, it's basically real quick what we've been doing. You're gonna we do a single trace. That's what I did. That's what I generally use most of the time. But you can do multiple scans. Just use the pen nodule to pull one of these off to find the one you like this one right here. There's some different ones. Then we ungroup them, so we can get rid of the other ones. Save it. Now we go into Tinkercad. So that's what we're going to do. I'll go to Tinkercad. I'm going to go to Tinkercad. I'm going to go create a new design. And just like we did before, I'm going to go into Import. I'm going to choose a file. New Duck 2. Open it. It's going to probably be big. I put it on at 100% right off the bat, see what it's going to look like. Let's see what it does. Tell you right now it's big. It's taking a little while to import in. If it takes too long to import in, folks, it's probably too big a file. There it is. See how huge this thing is? You know, the internet's got to load it up. Also, too, they only allow you to import so many things at once. I think it's like 10 imports. Okay, let me see if I zoom out of this. Yeah, it's so big it's all the way out. It's not even, it's still not uploading. So I'm going to go ahead and delete it for time's sake. Hopefully I can delete this thing. All right, I'm back. Let's import it again. This time let's make it 10%. Let's make it 4 millimeters tall. Import. All right, somehow I ended up with a white, so something I've done wrong. Oh, nice. What the heck did I get wrong on this? Let me go over here. There it is. So why is it doing that to me? New Duck 2. Yeah, let's replace it. Let's see, hopefully this works this time. I'm not sure, just had it work before. Choose a file. Oh, I'm not sure that's the right kind, but let's see. Yeah, for some reason that didn't import. I'm going back to my single edge drawing. Let's do this all again real quick. I'll make another one. Not sure why that layer didn't work. So what we'll do is go, if that doesn't work, we'll try again. Open recent. Duck JPEG, say OK. Let's close this one down. Here's my duck. I'm going to go under layer. I'm going to do path, trace to bitmap. I'm going to make it what I usually do, single mode right there. I'm going to say update. There it is. See, there's the duck. I'm going to say OK. And there's the duck right there. When I say OK, probably going to move him out of here in a minute. There he is. I'm going to delete this one off. Duck back here. File. It's good review. Document properties. We're going to resize paper to content, resize paper drawing or selection, which I did. You know what? I don't know if I selected the drawing when I did the last time. That might be why I messed that up. Okay. Then we're going to do, once we have that, we're going to hit File, Save As, Duck 3 SVC, or Duck 4 now, .svc, or SVG, excuse me. Save. All right. Now, let's try again. Choose a file. Duck 4. Open. I know he's going to be big, so I'm going to immediately bring him in as this file. Let's try now. There he is. All right. Voila. I'll make him shift. I'm going to scale him up bigger. Now, the only thing is, folks, I know we're running a little bit out of time here, so I got questions here. All right. You've got these pieces here. And what we're probably going to need to do to begin with is make them really far out, because what we're going to do is take, to clean these off, we're going to make what amounts to an eraser. We're going to take this cylinder. All right, we're going to make it a little bit smaller. And what we're going to do is combine it. And it's funny, you need it to be big enough. Like, that's probably too small. Let's get this down here. We're going to make this a whole. Then we're going to combine it with things. The idea, now this is, I'm doing this really sloppily. I don't think I was down there. All right, let's go ahead and push this down. So say I got it there. And I want to get rid of this. Now, guys, again, I'm going fast here just to demonstrate this. If we then group this whole thing, group it, see, it got rid of that piece. Now I just chucked a whole lot of that, so I'd have to take my time. So I'd have to literally remove all those pieces. I could also do that in Inkscape before I left. Go through and just clean up. So you can do it. It's a little bit time consuming on what you're trying to do. All right? Hope this was helpful for everybody. Okay. How many people are excited to get started 3D printing their stuff? Great. I'm glad you're pumped. And I can't wait to send it. I can't wait till we make a, see you guys make some cookie cutters. Have you guys sent plenty of pictures? I want to see that. All right, so work on your checkers. All this survey is going to come out tomorrow. I'll make sure with Mr. Maurer it's okay. He may have to send a survey to go through your school. That's a little bit, schools and how they use Google Documents is very particular. It's to protect, you know, for safety, security. So I hope that was helpful. And I hope you have a good one, and we'll see you next Monday. All right? Bye-bye. I'll have this posted tonight. Bye-bye, all.